Let's start with the prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Shanti.
Oh, very sweet of you guys. Maybe next time I'll get you guys to join me. All right. So let's start this week. Just a quick experience I want to share with you. So last week, I have a neighbor. I'm in the office here at Taringa. I have a neighbor they have a small church office, and there's one gentleman who's been constantly asking me to have a meeting with him. So finally, this last week, we actually caught up for coffee, and we started having a conversation, and I guess he started talking about Christianity. So there were a couple of things that came across, and I asked him a question. For instance, when Yash was really little, I think around 2 years old, he was at childcare. We had received a note from one of the parents saying that their kid was sick, and that he was going through chemo, I believe. His immune system was weak. So if any of the children were sick, that we'd have to advise this parent so they could take the necessary precautions. This particular parent had actually quit the church because they were going through a lot of hardship, financial hardship, and the pain of their child actually suffering from chemo and all that. So I asked he's actually a pastor here, and I asked him in our catch up in our meeting. So this person quit the church and all because of this. How do you explain that? So he went on talking about how it's God's plan and all that. And then he asked me what my logic was, what my theory was behind it. So I explained to him the laws of karma, and he did not have an answer to it. He was kind of taken aback. He was surprised by that. He asked me, so are you religious? I said, no, I'm spiritual. I'm not very religious. I'm spiritual because I go by reason and logic for my knowledge. A couple of other discussions happened, and then he started talking about somebody who would attend church but who would do the wrong things, and for that person would go to hell for eternity. And that did not sit well with me. So I asked him the question, if I were on the street, I know the laws of the road, but despite that I drove fast and I got caught by the policeman, right? Would he give me a ticket, an appropriate punishment for me driving fast, for breaking the laws, or would I go to jail for the rest of my life? Okay. And I told him, look, it's same with our life. We can probably we can have a entire life of crime, but that doesn't mean for eternity we will be in hell. Okay. It just means that adds to your bad karma, and in the next birth, you'll reap the adverse effects of that bad karma. So our laws of karma are very clear, and it makes sense. We have action and reaction. So the reason I'm telling you this is we have knowledge through logic and reasoning. So if I ask you, all right, I have something, I add 2 to it, I have a number, I add 2 to it and I get 5. So what is that number? What would you guys say? 3, right? So that is logic. So if you know that, you will not have a reason to doubt yourself. But if it's a belief system and something happens that breaks you, all right, that belief is shattered. Whereas knowledge cannot be shattered because It is true and verified. So I guess I just wanted to bring this to your attention. So tomorrow when somebody talks about belief systems, you have the knowledge on your side to tell you what the truth is. Okay. All right. Moving on. Yeah, by the way, this person, I don't think he'll call me back for another meeting again because of the discussion we've had. And he didn't have answers to what I've said. Yes, Samita, do you have a question? No. Okay. All right. So let's move on to what we were doing. There was, I think we went up to verse 26. I just touched the new topic. But from verses 11 to 25, we've been talking about the Atman. And you remember we started off chapter 1 and most of the first part of chapter 2 with Arjuna grieving. He's not sure, he wants to fight with his relatives, his cousins, and all that. So the first part, he's asking advice for Lord Krishna, and between verses 11 and 25, Lord Krishna talks to him about the Atman, how the Atman cannot be destroyed, how it is just like you changing clothes, moving from your old clothes to new clothes, and that's how it is with us. So he's talking about the Atman that is not destructible. But like I said at the beginning of verse 11, this is, he's jumped into the deep end. And he's telling that the Atman is so and so. It has the, it cannot be destroyed. It cannot, there is no shape or form for this one. It cannot be wet by water. It cannot be burnt by fire. All that description is talking all about the Atman. And he's saying nothing affects the Atman. So you should not grieve because you're not killing the Atman. And that's who we are. So if now Lord Krishna is thinking, okay, this person, I've jumped into the deep end and this person may I not have understood this. So let's go on to the next few verses. So before I go on to that, can I ask you guys, what actually dies? Anyone answer that? Yep.
The physical body.
The physical body. So it's the physical body that dies. All right. So from here on, he's now talking about the subtle body. So he's kind of come one notch down. Can you guys repeat after me? Ata
Ata
Chainam
Chainam
Nitya Jatam
Nityajatam
Nityam
Nityam
Tva
Tva
Manyase Mritam Tatha
Rata
Api Tvam
Apitvam
Mahabaho
Mahabaho
Evam
Devam
Shochitam
Shotam
Arhasi
Arhasi
Jatasya
Jatasya
Hi
Hi
Dhruva
Rava
Mrityu
Mrityu
Dhruvam
Dhruva
Janma
Janma
Mrutasya
Mritasya
Cha Tasmat
Tasmat
Apariharye
Aparihare
Arte
Arte
Natvam
Tvam
Shochitam
Shochitam.
Arhasi.
Arhasi.
Avyakta.
Avyakta.
Adini.
Adini.
Bhutani.
Tani.
Vyakta.
Yashta.
Madhyani.
Madhya.
Bharata.
Bharata.
Avyakta.
Navyakta.
Nidhanani.
Vidana.
Eva.
Deva.
Tatra.
Adra.
Ka.
Ta.
Paridevana.
Devana.
So this is 3 verses from 26 through to 28. Now, the first verse he's telling that so Lord Krishna is now stepping down and he's telling, let's assume that you believe there is only birth, okay? There's only constant birth or there's only constant death, okay? He's talking about now the subtle body. So he's saying the subtle body is constantly being born or it's constantly dying. Yeah. Even then, you don't have to grieve. Shochitam. So you don't have to grieve for that. There is no benefit in grieving. So imagine this. In your house, you've got a pest guy. You've seen a lot of cockroaches and all. This person comes, sprays and goes. What happens in 12 months' time? Again, you start seeing cockroaches. So there's constant birth and there's constant death. So that is what he's alerting to in this one. Okay. So then he goes on to say, if there is birth, there has to be death. So think about it yourselves, right? You guys are young. I'm sure you're all born this century. Last century, where were you guys? Okay. In another century, that's if you live 100 years, or even if a little more, say in the middle of next century, where will you be? Okay. But you are born and you too die. What happens after that? Okay. So the question is, all right, you're unmanifest, you're manifest, and then you're unmanifest again. Sorry, did you want to say something, Samita?
I wanted to say the answer.
Sorry, please go on.
So the answer of that is you go to heaven and they make your body and then they send you down and Papa.
Oh, that's you're close. Very close. All right, so the heaven thing is a little different. Okay, so you go to heaven only if you're born with good karma. Only good karma in that basket. Okay, so that's a different topic for another time. So you are right. So when you die, the subtle body moves on, and then after a certain time, depending on your karma, you come back, you have a new body, and then you go from being a child to teenager to youth to old age, and then you die, and then the cycle starts again. So what Lord Krishna is saying, even then you don't have to grieve. Why? Because it's the body that dies. You are here to fight with your cousins, with your uncles, with your grandparents, all your relatives. Yes, you are right. Okay? But it is not their subtle body that dies, it is their physical body that will die. Even if you don't fight with them, There will come a day when all these people have to die. Where were these people? For instance, let's talk about Duryodhana. Where was he 100 years ago? He was not born. Where will he be 100 years from now? We don't know. He's not going to be in this physical body. What is going to die is going to die no matter what, whether you fight this war or not. Right? You love someone, you hate someone, you care for someone, you're seeing somebody. All of these things are part of your subtle body. They're not a part of the physical body. Your physical body is only a tool. It's like you saying, I like ice cream, I'm going to take a spoon and a bowl, and I'm going to eat ice cream. Those are tools. Your body is just like that. Okay? Your eyes, you see somebody with your eyes, right? You know that that person is there. Why? Because your eyes capture that image. It is, of course, inverted. It goes to your brain, your mind, at the back in the background, converts it into something you can understand, and tells you that there is somebody there. If you're seeing me on this computer, or if you're seeing the computer in front of you, it is an image that is created in your head. So all the experiences, everything that you know, everything that is happening, it's all happening in your mind, and it's all happening in your intellect. Okay, it's like the computer and the software. You can have the computer, but without the software, there's nothing there. It's a software that's interpreting things, that's converting things from bits to one, from ones and zeros to something you can understand. That's how your mind is. Okay, so what you're grieving for is actually that subtle body, and that subtle body is not going to die. Nothing is going to happen to that subtle body. So even there, you don't have to grieve. So that is what Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna. Right. So let's come on to that third verse on that one. So he's telling Avyaktadini Bhutani. All right. So he's telling everything that's unmanifest will be before birth, will be manifest after birth. So once you're born, you are actually a physical being, but once you die, then your subtle body, it's unmanifest. There's no shape or form for that, right? So then again, that subtle body will take on a small baby's body, and it will continue through that cycle. So then why are you grieving? He's saying, oh Bharata. Bharata is descendant of King Bharat, and he's referring Arjuna there. So he's saying, Arjuna, you don't have to grieve. So that's what all of that is. Okay. Any questions there? No? All right. So let's do two more verses, and I think that's the end of this topic. We can start a new topic next week. All right. If you can repeat after me. Ascharyavat
Ascharyavat
pashyati
Ashyati
kaschit
Kaschit
enam
Enam
ascharyavat
Ascharyavat
vadati
Vatati
tatha
Rata
evacha
Evacha
anya
Anya
ascharyavat
Ascharyavat
cha enam
Enam
anya
Anya
shrinoti
Shrinoti
shrutva
Shrutva
api enam
Amyenam
veda
Veda
nacha eva
Cha Eva
kaschit
Dehi
dehi nityam
Nityam
avadhya,
avadya,
ayam,
ayam,
dehi,
dehi,
sarvasya,
sarvasya,
bharata,
bharata,
tasmat,
tasmat,
sarvani,
sarvani,
bhutani,
Bhutani
natvam,
natvam,
shochitum,
shochitum,
arhasi.
hase.
Right. So I'm assuming you would have understood the word ascharya. Ascharya is obviously in wonder. So what Lord Krishna is saying, and this is my personal experience. When I didn't know all this, I was just a normal person. But when I started to understand all of this that I've explained to you, my jaws dropped. I was in amazement. It was a new experience for me. So he's talking about that. Acharyavat, you're in one. It's an amazing experience. It's something that drops your jaw. Okay. Uh, this he's talking about the knowledge, right? There are some that understand this, some that describe this, and some that hear this. So he's talking about all these people. So, for instance, I have this knowledge. All right, I've studied this. I have this knowledge, and I'm amazed about it. And then I'm describing it to you. Right? It might be amazing even then. And some hear of this. So you are hearing. It may be amazing. Okay? It's like the wonder of wonders. And then he also says, for those who understand this, it's wonder. It's amazing. For those who don't, even after hearing, that itself is a wonder. So it's kind of a play on words. What he's saying is, not everyone will understand what we're talking about. Right? It is amazing for somebody who learns of this, and it is amazing that some people, even after listening to this, don't understand this. It's kind of a play on words. Okay. So then he's talking about Dehi. So he's talking about the mind, the subtle body. Okay, the one that dwells within you. Okay, it's always there, Nityam. It's always there. It's immortal. Uh, the body, uh, the subtle body is immortal. Therefore, you should not mourn. Therefore, you should not grieve for the subtle body. Okay, so he kind of sums up the topic that we just discussed.